Hey there, episode 4 of the Sexcapade Chronicles. We are here to bring fun sexual things to light today. We have some great topics for you guys, as prompted by you guys. So no worries. Like our children and our
It was
husband.
just a kid. It's nothing.
There's lots of those. Anyways, running around. So today we are going to talk about love languages, because I think that a really important part of a relationship component is knowing how your partner wants to be loved.
Right.
Would you agree?
Right, and everyone's different, so what my love language is, which I just learned, I just took the quiz, kind of what I thought it would be, is going to be completely different from my husband.
Absolutely. And I think that, you know, as we were running yesterday, we were kind of talking about different needs and being able to meet your partner's need if they don't have the same love language as you, and how important that is to identify the differences, so you can make sure you're meeting that person's needs, because they feel neglected and not important and such when you don't, like, you know, maybe take that into consideration. Right.
If you're loving somebody based on how you want to be loved, it's not going to translate the same to them.
Absolutely. So, like, you and I both have words of affirmation as number one. Shocker. We like to hear good things about ourselves.
Tell me I'm pretty and smart.
Exactly. Totally. Every day, all day. Because I think that part of it is, like, that we are so hard on ourselves and so critical that it's so important that our partner is giving us those positive cues and kind of reaffirming the positives we see about ourselves versus the negative tape that plays in our head.
Right, because we're constantly so hard on ourselves, and you didn't do this right, and you didn't do this right, so to hear someone say, oh, you are kicking ass, it means the world.
Exactly, and when your friends support you, it's like kind of the same thing, because it's reinforcing that, and knowing what kind of support your friends need, whether it's a hug, is it the words, is it, like, you know, making sure that you're on the same level is super important, I think, in friendships as well.
Right, yeah, definitely.
So, as we were running yesterday and having conversations as a dating coach, you know, like, that's kind of one of those things of understanding people. But you have to understand yourself first. Right. Would you agree? To be able to do that. People don't realize that I actually am functional and able to do such things given my behavior, but I'm actually really good when I deal with other people and being objective.
Right, absolutely. And I definitely go to you. What do I do? What do I say?
Like it or not, like, you know, being able to understand people and the patterns of behavior, because we do things because we want a certain reaction, right? We're craving certain things. Right. So one of your last love languages was physical touch. Like, you know, because, like, to you that doesn't really mean as much.
It doesn't mean anything.
But I think to Justin that would be number one.
Right. And a hug and a kiss means the world, where I'm just like, look, you can get a hug or do anything with anybody. So for me, it doesn't mean as much. So, like, I go hug a stranger on the corner. It doesn't mean anything. I don't.
So your husband and your love languages are complete opposite in ways. So, like, having to meet in the middle is super important, and being able to be, you know, be able to be not coherent, like, cognizant. Coherent, cognizant. Same thing. Of such important details are really important to be able to sustain a relationship. Now, what happens when you're dating?
When you're dating, I don't know that you put as much effort into figuring it out.
See, I think that we do it, like, subconsciously a lot of times, because, like, we become crazy and, like, you know, texting and blowing people's phone up, and, like, because women, like, you know, their messages that are paragraphs long.
I don't know. I know nothing of this.
Okay. Well, I've stopped you from sending text messages that are paragraphs long. To other people, though. Right. Our words of affirmation, our words that are wanting to communicate with our words.
I know, right. And I want to send a paragraph, you're like, or one sentence.
We can be concise and not put all the emotion in it, and not piss this person off to the point they don't speak to us anymore. But I think that's really important, though. Like, when you're having a relationship with someone or dating someone, like, you don't realize why you're doing what you're doing. Right. Because in the beginning, everything is just like rainbows and ponies. Right. And you just can't get enough of that person.
Right. But then it's also, it either goes from that, or one little thing doesn't go your way, and it's, oh shit, it's the end of the world. There's, like, no in between. It's everything's wonderful or everything's horrible.
So if someone hangs up on you because you're drunk and call them or yelling at them, I don't know. However, if that person had stood you up that day and didn't really explain why, would you think there's a communication issue with love languages?
Could be.
Could be, yeah. The struggle is real being single people. Because, like, cause and effect, right? So I didn't get what I needed, so, like, let me terrorize you. It's kind of like, you know, a pattern I know very well. Because you're not getting what you need. It's not reciprocal.
Right, and it's not that you're mad, it's that it's a panic.
I think it's hurt, though. It's like, literally, like, it's the bottom line is you're hurt, and you're vulnerable, and this person didn't meet your expectations and needs, and now it's like, motherfucker, you're gonna pay. True story?
Right, true story.
Hashtag, that's why I always say true story, because these are the things that, you know, may or may not happen on the regular basis. So, I think we both had for number 2 was acts of service.
Right.
Is that correct?
Yeah. So, for me, it's when I'm tired. I don't want to run to the grocery store. So, when Justin's like, hey, do you want me to run to the store really quick? Like, to me, that means that's worth, like, I guess 10 hugs for him. If we're trying to, like, weigh them.
Yeah. Because it's like he is, like, taking a burden off you. Right. And I think that's so important because, like, until recently, I never even knew what that was like. Having someone pick up the slack and me not having to do everything and then some. Right. Because we're so used to doing it all. We're so type A.
Right, and I don't ask for help.
Oh, no, we don't do that.
No, I can do it all. It's fine.
Totally.
Even if I'm pissed off, I can do it.
And resentful as fuck.
Right. Right.
I know, I'm the same way. I'm only saying this because, like, I do the same thing.
Yeah, it's I don't need you. And you're not gonna help me. I'll just do it myself. It's a whole.
You should be anticipating my needs, and therefore I've already done it. Much less, like, I could ask you for help, but I'm above that. So, you know, that whole cycle, though, I think vulnerability for us is really hard. And so the acts of service is really important because it's like when I was reading the definition about it, it's like follow through on your words. So if you say you're going to do something and show up, it's super important. You fucking show up. Or you know, I think that like we lose it because like you're hurt and like being able to explain that vulnerability and putting yourself out there, I think is really hard. Right. Because we always say we don't need help or we don't expect things of people, and when we actually do,
if there's no follow through, it's to me it was like a whole world collapsing over something super small, super simple, nothing really. But if you say you're going to be there and you're not, then all of my vulnerability that I was feeling, it just all comes crashing down, and then I get resentful.
Well, yeah, because I feel abandoned because of my issues and stuff from my childhood and such. I think this person, like, left me to die, basically, even though, like, that may or may not be true. Okay.
They could be working.
Whatever. That's fine. They chose overtime. I understand. Things happen. But nonetheless, like, it was very difficult for me not to take it personally. I was pissed. Like, pissed as fuck. Right. Like, and I wanted to drink these spree, perhaps, and you know, decided it was a great time to call, like, you know, many hours later after I told them I wasn't going to text them, that I called them. So I kept my word, mind you, don't worry.
Drunken calls are always good.
Yeah, that's why I got hung up on. Like, and then I blocked him, don't worry. God forbid anybody has the last word, like, with me. So I completely sound insane right now. But nonetheless, like, but this person I really cared about, and it was, like, really difficult for me. Like, they said they're showing up, they're going to be here, they're going to make the time, and then they didn't. And to me, it's, like, this whole thing of, like, that expectation of I don't ever expect people to show up for me. So now you've, like, led me on to believe this, and I've never had anything that says otherwise, so I believe you. Right. And then I'm disappointed and hurt. Like, I think that the way that women react when they get hurt is probably not sane. You know, by most accounts, it's emotional. It's not.
Yeah, because we run on emotions. I know I do.
And I think that I don't for the most part, but trauma though makes all the emotions come to surface, and it's like literally like reliving it. Because I couldn't figure out for like 24 hours, like, what in the fuck is wrong with me? Like, why do I behave this way? Why would I go drink this much and behave like a lunatic? And
because he went to work.
It was a lack of communication over him choosing to go to work.
No, I agree.
Because like I would have understood if he said I had to go to work, like, and said to me like, you know, I need to work overtime. I have the opportunity. Like, I can't come. Like, that's totally understandable. It's more like, and you are gonna deal with it. Like, I'm gonna go to work, so I won't be there. And that was the end. And like, like that was like acceptable. And to me, that's like a fuck you and then some.
Right. Well, I was telling you when me and Justin were just seeing each other, and the plan. I was at work, and the plan was I was gonna go to his house after, and then we were gonna go out with his friends. And then I got off work, all excited, and I called him. He's like, oh, I'm already out with them. And I was just like, oh my god, it was supposed to go this way, and now you've changed it. And I was total panic. I'm pretty sure I broke up with him for like a day.
Because you, like, it's deviated from the plan, like your expectations.
Right, like it's, you know what, it scared me. And I was like, well, if he can lie about this, then he can lie about
the disappointment, everything. Though. Because it's like setting you up, basically. It feels like that, because we don't put ourselves out there. Right. So, like, I allowed myself to believe this. Right. And you've taken this away from me now.
And looking back, there's small things that guys just don't think about.
Communication's one of them. as an ongoing issue. Gonna put that out there. As communication's like a serious issue that we need to bridge that gap on.
Right.
Because if you don't want crazy bitch, then communicate. Like basically that's it. And do what you say you're gonna do and communicate. Right. Does that solve a lot of marital problems?
You say what you're thinking, and if plans change, just say them so that we're not left thinking, oh shit, what's going on? Because for me, I panic.
Yeah, it does, because it's that feeling of abandonment. Right. Like, literally, it's traumatizing, though. Because we think this person has set us up for failure, basically, and we have invested this much, and now this person doesn't care. Right. And that's a very difficult thing when, like, you know, you've gone through so many things in your life. Like, you've had a couple of marriages. I've had, like, you know, numerous traumatic events in my life. And you don't want to ever put yourself in a position you're going to get hurt again. And I think that, you know, the more we talk about this, the more people are probably being like, oh, that's why.
That's why I'm crazy.
Or no, but like, I've done these things, though. Like, thinking about it, like, these, like, girls or guys and everyone they've interacted with over the years, like, oh, that makes sense.
Well, you're the one that pointed out to me on the phone the other day that I had this wall up for the past year. And it was a year ago until my custody shit, and I thought I was never going to see my kids again. And so I had to become tough and fight. And this wall came up, and I never put it down. Yeah. I have my kids full custody. I mean...
But it's a fight or flight, though. Like, as I told you, it's like, you know, like, you were, like, in mama bear mode. Like, I'll be damned if I lose my fucking kids. Right. But you just never, like, let that defense back down.
And I didn't even notice.
Yeah. And I think that, like, you know, it's really hard when people don't know what it's like to have trauma in their past and such. Because, like, we're such fighters that people would never think that we actually behave a certain way to be able to be a fighter. Because we don't say that we're victims, ever. Survivor and fighter, basically. Because, like, basically on the other side of pain is, like, as I say, love, laughter, and happiness. And being able to show other people that, like, your pain isn't worth nothing. But it's really hard when you're in it to see that you're not in that mode anymore. Right. Trust me, like, as my PTSD episodes that she's seen many a times, like, you know, like, there is no way to tell someone that you're not feeling this and you're not experiencing those things, and that is one of the hardest things when you're in a relationship to convey is, like, because you don't even realize you're doing it. Yeah. Because that's what's ingrained in you. That's how you've survived this long. Right. Is being that person that doesn't show emotion, doesn't show weakness. And I think that I find it's very difficult for people to care about me and love me. Like, because I never let people in. So I think that, like, doing this podcast has been really good for us. Right. From the standpoint of people never saw the vulnerability in the other side of us. Other than, like, you know, me drinking excessively and being a shit show and, like, you know, maybe having it together when I had to go professionally host events and such. But, like, people didn't know why I was so good at what I did and why I was able to work with clients and, like, be a dating coach and all these things. It's out of trauma. Right. And being able to see other people's pain and identify with that.
Right, which is why I started my business. Because, you know, I'll be damned if if I went through 8 years of hell for nothing. Yeah. Like, no, I went through that. It sucked. I take that. And I would rather help other women, other people, men too, I don't even care. I just want to help people in shitty relationships.
Yeah. And I think that, like, you try to transform your pain. I posted a quote earlier about being brave and such. It's like, being brave is like being able to actually talk about the pain that we've gone through in their experiences, which has never been a strong point for me, ever. Like, ever. Because I was always taught by a military family, emotions sign of weakness. And so it would be used against me. And as I've gone through treatment and recovery and such for my PTSD, it's more like the more people you tell about, the more people there are, and the more people feel less alone, which is the complete opposite of what I would have ever thought. Right. And I think that that's how we bond a lot of the time.
Right. I mean, I didn't talk about anything. I mean, my poor husband was like, maybe some therapy? I was like, I'm fine.
But since we met, though, like, it's like it gotten a lot better.
It's gotten a lot better. Yeah. And I recognize a lot of it. I recognize why I do things, why I say things. And you'll be like, it sounds like the tape in your head, not reality. When I'm like, I'm a failure as a mother.
that might have happened. But, you know, like, but being able to see, like, because, like, you know, the reasons why you felt that way, being able to see it objectively. And then, like, you know, the reasons why. And, like, you know, you gave me the opportunity, like it or not, to talk to your daughter. And, like,
I did walk slower after I moved my car from avoiding a ticket. I sent a picture to Justin. He was like, damn it, you have to pay attention to the signs.
She was very, like, you know, concerned about getting here to run with me, which I totally appreciate being on time.
That would have been my third ticket in a few months.
Midtown's bitch.
The first one was the Golden Gate Bridge.
Oh, you went through the toll?
I didn't see where it said cash. I don't think it was my fault.
Fast track cash. flash, like, you know, radiant signs. You're probably on your phone. I can see you now.
No, you know what's funny? I was hoping there was a picture of it. Because you know if you run a red light, you get a picture. I was hoping I'd get a picture because I had the $20 bill in my hand. And I would have been like, it would have been like me, like, looking all confused, holding money.
Holding money like you're a hooker. Like,
somebody take it.
It's not like you're a stripper, not a hooker. I'm sorry, let's distinguish. Like who wants this? Like, let me get through this toll.
Yeah, nobody wanted my money. So we got the ticket in the mail.
If you apply for a fast track pass, you can actually get rid of that.
I know, we're gonna do that now.
Yeah.
Well, they only pay or charge $8. Like, it was like something super low.
I know, but I'm saying, like, if you like go online, you say you're gonna get a fast track pass, and they like get rid of the first ticket, just so you know, just because like.
That doesn't help now.
Well, sorry you paid that one. You should ask me, you know, the one that was gonna be a lawyer. I worked at like law firms and such. But you work with lawyers too. Mm-hmm. Like, you know. I think that's the part that people don't know is how much experience we actually have in the worlds that we like live in and work in. And like the way, like the amount of education and like experience actually goes into all of this in our companies. Mm-hmm. So you're seeing the real people, but we're very actually intelligent beings that like have gone through a lot of jobs and experiences, and we have all those things that make us so charismatic and being able to articulate what it looks like to be on the other side of things. Mm-hmm. Would you agree?
Right. I mean, I went through, well, I owned my own cleaning business for 5 years. I did amazing. I did workers' comp insurance. It was horrible. It was horrible. I worked at a law firm that did defense for like nursing homes.
Okay.
I went to school for a while. I did criminal justice. I mean,
we have a very versatile skill set between the two of us.
It's not just, you know, she's a mom and she has a PI business now.
Yeah, exactly. And you saw the teacher side of me when I was talking to your daughter.
Right.
Like, you know, like when I talk to you, you're like, you're a dating coach. I see it. Like, you know, sometimes like there is like a glimmer of hope that I'm not this completely train wreck of a human that I, you know, portray myself to be. Like, you know, being able to talk to your daughter and like, you know, you're like, she's very close off. Like, and like how quickly can you build a rapport, and like those skills and stuff that like people don't realize are extremely valuable and are very rare. We've been able to capitalize on in several different ways.
Right. Well, because I show this side of me a lot. This silly, because if I'm silly and laugh, you're not going to take me serious, so you can't judge me.
And I have my wall up, so that's like, because that's
my wall again.
My wall! Because we portray what we want people to see versus this function that plays out when behind the scenes, like in the conversations we have off camera. So I guess we're trying to like, you know, bring that to light though for people, because we all have these conversations, we all have these doubts, we all have these thoughts.
Right.
And it, you know, through our traumas and like, you know, treatment and such, like being able to articulate that is kind of one of the strongest things you can do, because it's literally putting yourself out there to be like, and here's all the ways I've fucked up, or like, at least that's how I feel.
Right, so the other women, other people, I mean, if someone stumbled on this, it was like, what the hell are these two jackasses? But they're like, oh, I kind of get it. Like, oh, I feel like that way sometimes.
Yeah.
Then it's kind of worth, you know,
putting it out there.
Right.
And you would ask me to do the podcast. This was her idea. Now, the Sexcapade Chronicles name was my idea.
Not mine.
But, like, being able to, like, say why I thought it was, I think, was, like, the really, like, fun part behind it is, like, as the queen of dating, all of the experiences of dating coaching and all the experiences of my life, and then you being a PI and being married and, like, all of your experiences, I felt like this would be a very, like, fun way to display all those fun experiences. We'll call them fun. Train wrecks, whatever.
Right.
Like, experiences that we've gone through from both sides of it. So, like, not just, like, saying from the client side, but from our side of why we do what we do and why we're so successful in our companies.
Right.
So, you know, that's why it's called the Sexcapade Chronicles. We're not going to have sex or do anything like that on camera.
No porn.
No porn. I'm really sorry for anybody that tuned in for that.
That's where they just tuned out.
Yeah, and they're like, and fuck you. Okay, then. So, speaking of such things, we talked about sexting. We did 2 polls yesterday. We put them up, and, you know, it was very interesting. So I was asking, is sexting without pictures do or don't? And there was very, very divided. So on Instagram, 82% of people said yes, 18% no. Facebook, though, said 40% yes, 60% no. So sexting, they're just words, mind you, no pictures. Like, you know, if you're dating somebody or trying to, like, say you want to hook up later, or that's your spouse, words to try to, like, lay the groundwork. You know, old school communication. Like, you know, before there was Snapchat and God only knows what other apps to like sex with.
Right.
Do people know what sexting is? Maybe we should explain. Texting that's sexual.
I want to blank your blank would be.
Alrighty then. Wasn't thinking like that, but sure. Would you like to give us an example? Is there anything that like you would like to share to illustrate such like what sexting would look like?
What's funny is as being married, we really don't. It's did the kids do the chores?
Okay, this is not true. It's not words. We had this conversation before the podcast. Okay, so like pictures are much more, and like graphics and stuff are so much more like in your face. Now, as being a teacher and a public figure and such, like I cannot send such things because I value my career credentials and all my hard work. Mm-hmm. So I've always been like, fuck no. Right. Am I gonna put myself out there to have this end up on the internet? Because I value all of my sacrifices and hard work. Now, when you're married, it's a completely different story.
Well, you know what's funny? I did the poll and I said yes. Justin did it, he said no. So last night we were talking, I was like, how did we miss this? And he said, there's no pictures.
Men are very visual, so like, it's very interesting to see a lot of guys say no, though. Because like, when I look through the Instagram, like the people that said no are men. You know, I guess because they wanted pictures, maybe? I don't know, now I'm thinking about it. Maybe that's why.
I think that's what it is. I think the guys just want to get, you know, cut to the chase and see the tits and ass.
Yeah, men are visual creatures.
Right. So where I think a woman, I don't...
Because, like, we fall in love between our here, and men fall in love with, like, the physical. And so I think that, like, for us, like, words mean a lot more. Just like words of affirmation. Right. You know, your love language is between here, not down there. You know, like, I mean, like, that gets that ready to go, though, if they do a good job, though. I will say that, you know. I mean, like, really, like, when someone gives you a compliment and is, like, kind to you and, like, saying how good looking you are, does that not turn you on?
Yeah, definitely more than, you know, physical touch.
Like, let me grope you, yes.
That is not gonna do it.
But that's what I mean. Like, you have to have the other components. And for so many women, that is so important to be able to have sex and, like, actually enjoy it and such. Like, to feel validated and, like, feel like they're worth.
Yeah. I think a lot of it is a man and woman difference. I think their brains are... And I don't mean 100% of the time. I'm not saying men are this way, women are this way. But I think a lot of women would prefer words of affirmation as opposed to the physical touch.
And I agree with you, only from the standpoint of I was always like, oh, I love having sex and everything else. I love having sex, but like I think the more meaningful sex is with the people that like have the words of affirmation and like you have that actual emotional connection to.
Right.
This is something I was in denial about for many years, but yes, this may be true, given current circumstances.
Right.
Because I was never that person. I mean, I really, like, over the years, like, I've taken this quiz, like, on, like, you know, the love languages, I don't know how many times, and it's, like, changed and evolved, giving trauma, experiences, relationships, like, it's never been the same twice.
Right. I wish I remembered when I did this, when I was married before, and we did it during the Christian marriage counseling.
I think it would have been very different. Eye roll. Because you had to stay married forever and ever.
Heaven forbid, they're like, hey, you should leave him. Anyway. Sorry, we kind of veered off track.
Not at all. Anyway.
But then, and that was probably 8 years ago, 9 years ago, it wouldn't have been words of affirmation.
Yeah.
It was probably acts of service.
Basically,
because I was doing everything on my own.
Well, like, but he was so demeaning and like so condescending to you as a person.
Oh,
like,
his words.
He wasn't kind to you,
right?
So his words were not kind. Therefore, that would not be a need you would seek out because like there was none of that.
Right.
So like all he could give you is actions,
right?
Which is kind of like when I'm explaining like the evolving as a person. It has to do with where you're at and like dealing, your healing, everything in life. It's probably never going to be the same thing.
Right. I'm sure when I was younger it would have been physical touch, but because I lacked the maturity of a relationship, so I was like, oh, he wants to fuck me. He wants to touch me. He must like me. You know what? It's kind of...
Yeah, I know, because it's like, that's how we got affirmation, though.
Right.
And, you know, like, when you are going through trauma and, like, you're looking for self-worth and stuff, like, you're like, I'll do whatever it takes. And to have that instant gratification of the physical touch, like, what more can you ask for? Apparently there's more, but, like, you know, when you're in pain.
And young.
Yeah, but not knowing.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you know, I started dating at 23 because I was with someone from 17 to 23, so I didn't understand what dating was all about. That's how, like, Quinta dating became to be. I researched it for 7 years. Read books, like, did, like, you know, all the research, like, went out there, chronicled my life, not understanding you know, the reasons why people did what they did dating.
Right.
How do you date like a grown-up and not high school and live in Orange County? That's a really good science experiment. I'm really sorry to everyone that was a part of this. Had no idea. But like, you know, one of those things is like being able to like reflect, I guess, on your behavior over the years and being like, oh, that's where I was at in life. It wasn't like I was a piece of shit human. It's just like I was responding to what had happened that led me to that point, and that's all I could do.
Mm-hmm. Right, that's kind of what I learned in therapy was I had to do some quiz about things that could have happened to me when I was a kid or younger, and like kind of check mark, and I was like, nothing really, and she was like, you know, if your dad was an alcoholic, he probably didn't spend time with you, and it just kind of like went down the list, and I was like, oh shit. I thought I was okay.
There's this like quiz you could take about survival and trauma, and like I had taken it in the resiliency. Like it was very disturbing to me to see my score. My doctor made me do this a couple months ago. I was really upset, like really depressed. like I had like 7 or 8 out of 10 of like reasons you should die, basically. Like, you know, the amount of trauma I gone through and survived, which like one would put you in the trauma category, and I was like, you know, DEFCON like status of like, how the fuck are you still here? And I wonder that some days. But like being able to be resilient was the other quiz. It was like a 6 or a 7. So being able to bounce back from the trauma and everything else and continue on with the humor and being able to share things and such, like that's how you survive and continue on. And that's like such an important component I think that people don't realize is like, you know, I am fucked up beyond fucked up as a human. Like I'm really honest about this. Like on any given day, like who knows what you're gonna get. Which version, which story, who knows? Because there's been so many over the years. But like I think that I am always proud of the fact that I maintain I'm a good person. My character.
Right.
If nothing else.
Your character doesn't change.
And like my character was not dictated by what was done to me.
Right.
Choices are not, and that's just the same as yours. We've gone through a lot of stuff, and like you're still such a great person, so giving, you know, like so funny, so charismatic, so motivated. All of these things that you don't see yourself as because of the, you know, the things that have happened, but like we continue on and we help other people despite all of the obstacles we overcome, you know, emotionally and mentally on a daily basis to get out of bed. And that's kind of like the best part about it, I guess.
Right.
Is having that support. Because when you can't do it, you need someone
I'm still warning about October is when I just kind of start, you know, my downward spiral, but I think it's the season's changing for one, but that tends to be my start to. I can't get out of bed. I can't take a shower.
And you know, like, there's many things that contribute to mine, but like, it could be like, you know, anything on a given basis.
Well, yesterday mine was I'm a failure as a mom.
Yeah, but like by the time we got done, like hanging out, and running, and like I talked to your daughter and stuff, did you feel like that?
Yeah. When I talked to you last night, I was like, all right, I'm gonna be done with my pity party. Tomorrow morning, I will wake up and I will be over it. And I kind of gave myself the time to be like, okay. Put on your big girl panties. It's not the end of the world. You know.
But you processed it though, because like I talked to you last night when you were at the track meet with your like husband and the kids and stuff, and like I was like, here's all the great things that are going on for us right now, because we have many that have come out of this podcast, and we're so grateful, by the way, for all of you who've tuned in. Thank you, and for sharing. By the way, like we have a 50% people that are engaged that view it, like ship, like
that's huge.
And then in a week, having 800 of you view this is like actually really huge. So thank you guys so much. But like being able to be proactive and positive and like think beyond yourself, like as a team, I think is like one of those things that I've never had. I've never had someone on my side of crazy, you know. I don't show this to people. Like, I shut down my feelings and drink excessively and laugh and like behave horribly, because that's such an easier coping mechanism than ever having to tell someone I'm not okay.
Right.
And I think that like we both struggle with that, and like, you know, like the first time we hung out, like I was so not in a good place. And I rescheduled this meeting several times, and like I never explained to her why until we first met up. And I'm like, I'm very fucked up right now. I have PTSD. I'm not doing really well. It's not personal. I have nothing to give anyone. Like, and this was like 9 or 10 months ago.
Right. But it was a weird like instant click.
Yeah. But that's why I told you what was wrong with me, because I was like, I didn't want you to take it personally. And I identified so much with your vulnerability and like why you had the story you did and like why you started the company. I don't just like lead with that when I meet people. Like, here's all of the ways that I have screwed up. And please sign up and like want to do business with me. Please. This is a really good disclaimer of like, this is why you should endorse this. Like, do you not want to do business together? Like, she's like, I thought you were like a functional person. I'm like, I'm dysfunctionally functional. Like, I mean, me too. But we've come such a like long way since we became friends, and I think that like when I talk about the PTSD support group and such, like it's been almost 15 months now, and like I met so many people actually telling my story and helping people not feel so alone that like I can't believe I went that long without ever talking about any of it. And I wonder what my life would have been like if I would have actually shared, you know, what was going on with people around me. Right. You know, because I'm gonna be 36 in like, you know, 2 months. Like, that's hard to believe that it's taken this long.
I've been with Justin for like 7 years, and Friday night, I was like, alright, so here's the deal. Here's a couple things. And it felt so good. I texted you. I was like, I just told him everything. Yeah. Because it felt good to be able to get it off my chest and talk about it and not be judged. Yeah. And him, like, understand, like, oh, there's a reason for the crazy.
So I think that, like, you know, as much as we love entertaining you, this is very therapeutic for us as well in our relationships and such, because a lot of times we don't actually talk about these things with our partners and we just act crazy because that's so much easier than, like, actually, like, working through.
It's easier to hang up I mean, I'm still I'm like pissed. I'll hang up, and he's just like,
ignore text, whatever.
Call me later. What do you mean you're not gonna, you know, get into my fit?
Well, I have a lot of shit fits. Like, actually, I have a name for them. Like, Jen tantrums. Like, you know, like Jenisms. Like, all these things come from actual real life things I do.
Shit. I should like. Did you see my vows? Our wedding vows. One of them says, I'm pretty sure I vowed to only have one temper tantrum a week. That's where, and he signed up for it.
I know, he knows what he's getting.
Right? Yeah. That's like, our wedding vows are like written out on our hallway. I'll be like,
no,
I'm gonna let that one per week.
So accountability is very important. But as you told me earlier today, like the person that I'm seeing, you know, in my shit fit of like, you know, all the things that I do and like how upset I get and such, like, I have to be able to accept that like this person's making a lot of effort, as you said, and maybe explain that.
This dude, I think he's super nice. He is in no place to start a relationship. But he is. In the fact that he's willing to deal with all his own crazy and take on this.
And children. He has children.
Divorce and children, and he still makes the time and makes the effort. And even if he goes into work and doesn't communicate it with you, he must want to pursue a relationship, because it would be easier for him to like go through all the shit and be all, look, I'm not even dealing with that, and walk away. But he's like dealing with that and the divorce and the kids, and then you know, wanting to make sure you're happy. And
he calls me and talks to me for an hour and a half every night. I'm gonna be really honest, like that's like since high school no one has spent that much time like an energy on me as a person. But granted, I'm dysfunctional as fuck, okay? Like, and I act like a lunatic. Like, I am the first to own this. But like, it doesn't scare him. He's like, I've been married. It's fine.
At Rufus, he was just so like, with all the crazy going on, a lot of people would have been like, oh hell no. But he was like, just kind of rolled with the punches and.
I told him it was gonna be the end though. I was like, Snowfest will be the end, like, and we'll go back to like somewhat functional. Now that may or may not. And he's like always like, oh, you're not drinking and doing things and stuff like you. You know, I was like, because I said I wouldn't, but like he saw the worst case version of me when I was passed out outside, like, you know, the wrong hotel room over 2 years ago in Tahoe, and you know, took care of me because he was just like, you know, someone that works there and like that was their job and such to make sure I was okay. And you know, like, when you see someone, like, go from the worst place in their life, you think they're going to continue to behave dysfunctionally, and it's, like, always this, like, really positive surprise of, like, you're better! Like, you're not dysfunctional.
You're not passing out all over.
And you're not drunk and, like, doing these things on a regular basis. Right. Like, you didn't, like, you know, cause any, like, disturbances. I actually went to bed at 8:45 on, like, Saturday night after, you know, this whole conversation. Instead of continuing on, I went to bed. I'm going to be really honest. I can't think of a time in my life where, you know, after being hung up on, I blocked them and then went to bed. And then the next day I was like, so we need to fix some things and like regroup and like go back around and actually took the time. Like, I don't think I've ever in my life, of almost being 36 years old, had to like work through so many roadblocks that I might have caused, and had someone that was willing to do it with me.
Right.
I think that's like what a relationship's supposed to be like.
Is that what a healthy relationship is?
I don't know. You tell me.
I'm actually in a healthy relationship, and it scared the shit out of me at first because I was waiting for the being cheated on. I was waiting for, you know, this shit to hit the fan. And then over time, it took some years of like, maybe he's not gonna leave, and now I'm just like, he's stuck.
He's in it to win it. He comes to high guard tapings of these things. He cheers you on though, like, you know. And mine does it like silently behind the scenes and such, but like whatever crazy things we come up with, they support.
Which is important because mine are crazy. I mean, literally doing insurance to, I think I'm gonna quit my job and become a private investigator, and then I'm meeting all these people, and then I'm gonna do like a podcast, and he's just like, let's do it.
Meanwhile, he's like, do you think your face is broken? From last week. It's healing, but it still hurts a lot. He's like, I think you cracked your face. I'm concerned. I was like, doesn't matter. Regardless, we continue on. You know, like, but it doesn't like get upset that you thought it was a great idea to do yoga or like, you know, drink for 7 hours and be mad and like, you know, all these things. Like, he accepts that like this is a choice, this is a path. All the great things we're doing and have like so many opportunities ahead of us. Is like having support is not something I'm accustomed to. I've always been talked down to and told all the reasons I'm crazy. I already know. Let's be honest. Moving on. Come to terms with that a long time ago. But like success is like something that we both have, but having a partner be on board makes it like
Well, my cleaning business, I mean, it was amazing. I made a lot of money. I didn't save any of it because I had an alcoholic husband at that time. But no, like, I was really, like, I felt like I was kicking ass and I had this great business, and it was never enough. It was never. I mean, at one place, like, you should, you know, quit doing that and work for the state. Like,
because you want to control, though.
Right, and he didn't like me leaving the house and going to all these different houses to clean. I mean, apparently I was sleeping with everyone in town. I don't know when I had the time. So
we didn't get to this today, but I think we need to wrap it up. Platonic friendships.
Yes.
I think that's going to be the start of episode 5 of being able to talk to you guys about that, because I think that was a good segue into when people think that you can't be friends or have clients and not sleep with them. And this is where we leave you. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We love your questions. We love your feedback. Please continue to watch us, and until next time.
Bye.
Cheers.